Здравейте, намираме се на летището с Ричард и Мария Кейн. Това са основателите на Седмицата на брака в Англия и съответно в цял свят, които са стартирали. И съм тук да им задам няколко въпроса. Прекарахме 2 чудесни дни с тях. Hi Richard. Hi Maria. I would like to ask you how it's been going Marriage Week in the world. You mentioned like 3 more countries are joining this year.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, the network's up to 26 countries, and with 3 more that'll push it up to 30, which is really exciting. But the message I have for Marriage Week in Bulgaria is, I know you've been going for 12 years now, and so inevitably there's a feeling like, oh, it's the same thing again. Well, there's nothing wrong with the same thing again. It's like you have breakfast every day. Do you know what I mean? You go on holiday every summer and you have the marriage week every year, and so you mustn't be afraid of doing the same thing every year because it's a good thing.
And also, you know, sometimes it's the routine of things that makes us remember things that we ought to do. So like for us as being married couple, it's easy to get sort of complacent or lazy, you know, to forget about being intentional. So it's good to be intentional about your relationship.
And the best campaigns, you know, if you look at the campaigns that they did in the 1850s in England, you know, that abolished all sorts of ills in society, the ones that worked the best were the ones that just kept going. There's something about just the prevailing non-stop regularization of the campaign which really produces good fruit.
And what do you think will be your advice for Bulgarian economy, for the more children, for Bulgaria to have more children, because we have a huge demographic crisis in Bulgaria?
Well,
what is the solution?
Yeah, the best thing the Bulgarian government could do to support its economy is to strengthen and support the institution of marriage, because couples who are married tend to have more children. They tend to have those children earlier in life, and the education and the welfare of those children tend to be at a higher level than other arrangements. That's not to suggest that other arrangements aren't good, but what we're identifying is what is the best, the most optimum arrangement, and it is that. And so if anybody from the government is watching this, you should really support the institution of marriage in your society in Bulgaria, because it will have a trickle-down effect and strengthen families, which will mean that people don't want to go away and work elsewhere. They'll want to stay here because they have a real sense of connection and love and involvement.
And I heard that you were one of the key people who really brought this in Hungary many years ago as an advice to the government, and then things changed afterwards. The government heard this and they started taking steps. Can you share something about that?
Yeah, well, Hungary started the marriage week a long time ago. They were one of the early adopters, and I was there involved in a media launch. They have a media launch in the Parliament building each year, and as it was concluding, a journalist asked that question, said, what can we as the government do to support, what's our involvement? And I said something like, well, the best thing that the government could do would be to support the institution of marriage because it really strengthens the economy. Then I left the country, and then this whole discussion in the media just blew up, and it did influence policy. But then other things were influencing policy as well. But I think we were and are a component in that. And now, of course, the Hungarian government have adopted this distinctly pro-marriage policy, which is pretty much at variance to everybody else in the EU. So it's an interesting example to see how it'll work if you do that. So, you know, watch with some interest because it's all going in the right direction. For example, the marriage rate is up by something like 84%.
Maria, any suggestion on the single people who want to get married? What they can do better now living in this digital area where many people are working from home, not so many chances to see other people, to socialize? Yeah,
that's quite tricky now for a lot of young people. They're sort of stuck behind their computers, aren't they? I think for young people, you know, I think learn social skills is really important, you know, for if you want to pursue a relationship, you know, to become emotionally literate, I call it, you know, to find out about yourself and how you are as a person and how you can then sort of relate to others. I think it's quite important, specifically if we work from home a lot.
And Richard, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. It's only that, like, to be successful in a marriage, you've got to be a faithful kind of person. So, as a single person, are you faithful with the relationships you have? So, for example, if you arrange to go to the movies on Friday night with a particular friend, and then somebody else calls you with a better offer, do you drop the friend you'd arranged to go with because you've had a better offer? Or are you a faithful person? You go like, no, I've made this arrangement, I'm going to stick with it, because cultivating attitudes like that prepares you for marriage in a really good way.
And also, I don't think to be afraid of dating, you know, and just take a girl or a boy out, you know, and just find out what it's like. Because I think some young people think, oh, everything has to be perfect for them to do anything. But I think you can just take somebody out and see what you think. And then, you know, there's nothing wrong with just going out for coffee or something.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to encourage the couples for the 13th edition of Marriage Week in
Well, just
Bulgaria?
encourage you. I mean, 13 years is remarkable. You know, we've had a lovely 24 hours here. It's lovely hanging out with you guys and just hearing all the good things that are happening and have happened and your ambitions for the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this interview.